Hi Megan, this is Dr. Vaughn, and I thought that we could use a video to look at this question that you asked about, number 69 from section 11.3. So we're given this information right up here at the top, which is important, that the profit function is equal to revenue minus cost, and we're asked about this Hunky Beef local sandwich store, which has a fixed weekly cost of $525 and variable cost for making a roast beef sandwich is 55 cents. So it costs 55 cents times the number of sandwiches is the cost for making those sandwiches, and then add on to that the 525, which might represent rent or advertising, something that's just the same amount every week, regardless of how many sandwiches you make. So we're going to use this function, profit equals revenue minus cost, but up here in part A, we're just asked to look at the cost function. So our cost function is going to consist of the 525, the fixed cost, plus the variable cost, which you just multiply the per sandwich cost times the number of sandwiches made. X here is representing the total number of sandwiches. Please note that in this particular Word document, I'm being very, very brief just to be efficient with our conversation about doing this problem. You might want to add a little bit more explanation as you go through, but you know that your week 2 homework was really excellent, so keep up the great work on that. All right, so now we move to part B, and it gives us a revenue function. It's this minus 0.001x squared plus 3x, and it wants us to use the revenue function that they give us and the cost function that we computed in part A to find the profit function. So all we're going to do is take the revenue function which they gave us and subtract the cost function which we found up in part A. Now the important thing here, and you notice I put a minus sign, I put parentheses around the entire cost function because what we have to remember is that this minus sign is going to distribute through both of these terms that make up the cost function. And I'm not exactly sure why you got the wrong answer, but it may very well be just that you didn't distribute the minus sign. It's a very, very common kind of mistake for students to make, is to forget to distribute the minus sign. So I always put the parentheses in to help me remember. All right, so now I distribute the minus sign, and that gives me, here's my revenue function, and here's my cost function with the minus sign distributed. Now I'm going to combine these like terms, the plus 3x and the minus 0.55x, to get 2.45x, still have the quadratic term the same and the constant term the same. So this is our profit function, and that's the one we're going to carry with us into part C. So now in part C, we want to find the maximum of this profit function. So because this profit function is quadratic, it's a squared power, and because the leading coefficient is minus, this means it's a downward pointing parabola, and downward pointing parabolas have a maximum at the vertex. So really I could translate this question, part C, into find the vertex. The x coordinate of the vertex is going to be the number of sandwiches at the maximum, and the y coordinate of the function is going to be the output, which is the maximum amount of profit. And they ask us both of these questions here in part C. All right, so I'm going to use this formula minus b over 2a to find the x coordinate of the vertex. So that's minus 2.45 minus b, and divided by 2 times a. A is negative, so I have two negatives, a minus here and a minus here, which makes a positive result. 2.45 divided by 0.002, pull out my handy calculator, and I compute this quotient to be your 1225. Now this is what you looked up, and you found that the book solution says there were 1,225 sandwiches that produces the maximum profit. That's how we find the 1,225. Okay, so to maximize profit, we should, or the shop should make and sell 1,225 sandwiches. Now, how much profit would they make if they made and sold 1,225 sandwiches? So now we have to take this x value of 1,225 and plug it back into the profit function. Okay, the maximum profit would be negative 0.001 times 1,225 squared, so times 1,225 again, plus 2.45 times the 1,225 plugged in for x minus 525. And if you do this computation on your handy dandy calculator, you will end up with the solution that you emailed me about, which is the one found in the book, the $975.63, rounded to the nearest penny. So I hope this has been useful. This is a short video showing you how to complete the question 69 from section 11.3. Megan, keep your chin up. You're doing well. I really appreciate the effort that you're putting forward, and I know that you will be successful if you stick with it. Have a good night.